Jason here again. And as a recruiter, I've been scouring the internet for other people who talk, what do you do in order to find a job? And I found this guy that apparently I've been living under a rock. Everybody else is already watching, Alex Hormozi, but he gave some hiring advice, some career advice. And I thought it'd be fun to do a reaction video to his advice on finding a job, mainly because he's an entrepreneur. He hasn't really had to find a lot of work. Now, he has hired people, though, and it's interesting to hear his perspective. Before we get started, I'd love to hear from you what the best job search advice you've ever gotten. Put that in the comments. Put that below. Also, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. YouTube loves interaction. It really helps me out. So for context, before we hit play here, Alex is responding to a person that came up to him in person at a grocery store. A guy's working 2 jobs as a kid, just trying to get ahead. Didn't feel like he was able to give him the long enough answer, a more robust enough answer while he was moving. So he decided to record this video. He wrote a long tweet back to him as well. I find it funny that he's balling out of his mind in this jet and he's giving career advice. So good on you, man. Like, good going on this one. So here we go. This is what he talks about when it comes to applying for a job. Now, up to this point, he's given some really sage advice. If you want to see this video, it is a great one. I'll link to it in this. I'll actually link to it right here on the screen, so you can go see this video like in its entirety. I'm only going to cover about half of it here just for time's sake.
Just spending the rest of your time being the most amazing applicant to new jobs that exist in the world. I didn't say go apply to jobs. I said be the best candidate that has ever applied. And you're like, I don't have experience. And you can address that. Like, what I don't have an experience, I will make up for and hustle. And you prove that by messaging multiple people at every company with a snippet personalized to each of them. You know what other people do? Like, they take a half step. They copy and paste the same thing to all 4 people. And you know what the 4 people do? Yeah, he copy and pasted the same message to me. Don't do that. Be personal. Look at the HR recruiter.
Yep.
Look at the head of talent. Look at director of whatever. And message each of them on LinkedIn.
Right.
If you don't have a LinkedIn, go get one. It's free. And when you submit your resume, put a personalized cover letter on it after reading from the website.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. We're going to start with the out hustling everybody else by sending a personalized message to each of the people that you can find. You start with that LinkedIn. He's exactly right. LinkedIn is where you go for this. You've got to have your LinkedIn, and you get connected with some people that have lots of other connections. So the way that you can find who the HR person is or whatever is that you connect to lots of other people who have connections. You can connect to me. I've got thousands of connections, most of them in recruiting and HR. So chances are I know some of these people, or somebody that I know knows them, and you can be a couple of degrees away, get these people's names, and you do a little research to figure out who these people are. So you find them, then you got to figure out how to contact them. And the way that you contact them is you have to hunt down their information. I'll link to another video that I did that shows you how to get to the hiring manager. It works for all of these different roles that Alex is talking about, but he's exactly right. This is what you do. You can't just send in a bazillion applications. You have to chase those applications. You have to do the follow-up on the applications in order for it to work.
Say what that business is about. When you read the job description, good job descriptions say what they want the person to do, and say, like, I will be able to help do this thing because of these things, right? And especially a lower level role, your resume is not going to matter as much. Don't let anybody around you say that or fool you into that. What will matter, especially for low level roles, is hustle. So every employer wants to see is somebody who's going to go out of their way to go above and beyond. And so you demonstrate that you're going to go above and beyond. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to do this for 5 different places. You're going to write a custom thing. It's going to take you 4 hours to do the research, write the custom thing, message 20 people, because it's going to be 4 people at all 5 places. You know what's going to happen? Nothing.
He's 100% right on this too. I put him in a bad pause.
You're not.
I wasn't going to leave him in that pause. He's exactly right. It takes 200 applications right now to find a job. Now, what I'll tell you is it may take 200 applications. I bet it takes a lot less if you've got the follow-up and hustle that he's talking about. Now, it's not going to work on the first one. He's 100% correct. And it's sometimes people will get annoyed. They won't know what to do. I worked at a bank and they wouldn't know what to do if somebody contacted them. But you know what? If you're going for a recruiting job and you show that you know how to get to the hiring manager, that's a pretty cool thing. We will hire someone that is able to hunt us down because they can prove they can find people that they're looking for, which is a recruiter's job, really. Let's keep going.
Lucky. So what are you going to have to do? Got to be undeniable. Do you think if you applied to 1,000 places like that over the next 6 months, you wouldn't get a job? I think you would. Do you think if like after you got off your ship, you drove over and you said, hey, I just want to let you know, not in a creepy way. You say, hey, just want to let you know, I applied to put my resume. I messaged a couple of you guys. I just want to let you know I'm really excited about the opportunity. Don't want to be overbearing, but if you guys would give me a shot, I promise I will work harder than any other candidate here. And I'd like to just show you that I'm demonstrating that by these things. So you're like, I have proof that I'm saying, I'm not just making this up. I have proof that I will work harder.
I've hired people that did this. I've hired people that just came out and said, I will work harder than anybody you've ever met. And it worked. I mean, they were great. They did a great job. So he's right. I've done this before. I'm the guy that would have said yes on this. So what I'll tell you is, long career doing this, I've hired literally thousands and thousands of people. And this works for me. It certainly gets you past me if I'm the recruiter. And it gets you past most of my hiring managers and into a job.
And you know what'll happen? One of them say, I'll give you a shot. And then when they give you that shot, shove it in everyone's face how hard you work. Not by what you say, but by what you do. Be silent and just kill. Look at what the top guy does and do twice as much as that guy does. Be Kobe for whatever the job is. If you don't know the whole story about Kobe, he did 3 practices a day while everyone else did 1 or 2 because he wanted to get ahead. And in the beginning, he was worse than them. And then he got as good as them. And then he became better than them. And he kept doing 3 practices a day until eventually no one could catch up. Because if they were doing 3 practices a day, they would just keep up with his rate of progress. But he got ahead. And so the guy who's number 1 at whatever that business is probably works better than you.
I love this advice, man. Be Kobe for whatever that job is. That's stellar. That's killer advice. So yeah, work harder than everybody else around. There's this sentiment around, specifically in Gen Z, that it doesn't actually work. You know, hard work never gets recognized. What I'll tell you is it does. It eventually does. My daughter's in a situation where she's in her first job out of college, and they were going for their first big round of promotions in this group that she's in. And she didn't get in on that first round of promotions, though her stats say she's the best performer in the whole place. She was like, I don't know what the point is. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to work as hard as I used to. And I said, that's not the thing at all. All you need is for one person to stumble upon you when you're slaying it, and they'll remember you, and you'll get the next opportunity. You just need that one person to see you. And it may be a really small transaction, a really small interaction that you have, and you just impress the snot out of somebody. You never know. So constantly going above and beyond, constantly being the winner and amongst everybody else, knowing that you're in competition with everybody around you, doesn't mean you can't be friends, but you're still competing. You're still competing with those guys. So just know that and be the best. Be the best. Absolutely perfect advice here.
And he works longer than you. And so you can't just match it to get ahead, because he'll always be ahead. You got to match his current effort and then do your I'm going to get ahead of you effort. Like when he clocks out is when your work clocks in. That's when Avante 2.0 clocks in. And the thing is like if you can adopt this, like if you can really internalize this, you're going to crush. You're going to win. You can make luck not a factor. When I had Jacob, my 19-year-old, my son, I'm kidding. When I was talking to him, I think he was 16 actually. I was 15 or 16 when I started talking about this. Imagine, he's even less reason to get a job than you, all right? Less experience. I gave him 3 words, and he said he still remembers them to this day. I said, volume negates luck.
Whoa.
You need to put it.
That's killer. I keep pausing him in weird spots.
Put it on the back of your...
There we go. Now it's not a weird spot. That is killer advice. Volume negates luck. He started this video out. If you watch the whole video, and again, I will have a card in here for you to see it. But he starts this out saying you need to assume that you are the most unlucky person, that nothing's going to work out, that you have to make something happen. Also, great advice. So volume negates luck. That's what salespeople know. Like this guy, Alex, is a sales guy at heart. Like he's a true sales leader and knows how to sell things really well. He gives great advice throughout his channel. I've become a bit of an addict after I ran into him. But yeah, he knows that it's a numbers game. It's 100% a numbers game. And it's that way for the job search too. Volume negates luck. What great advice.
Your phones as a reminder to yourself, because in the beginning, the volume you're going to do is the timer of you watching the videos and taking the notes and watching the videos, learning the lingo, learning the language, so that when you get into an interview, you know what to say. And then reps is going to be watching mock interviews on YouTube, watching people who are hiring experts talk about the best ways to present. Watch some of Layla's videos about how to interview correctly. You do that stuff, you'll put yourself ahead of other people. Volume. Okay, cool. Now you're like, okay, but I'm not getting interviews. Volume negates luck. Crank the timer. Start doing the reps. 1 a day, 2 a day, 3 a day, 4 a day, 5 a day, 6 a day, 10 a day. Every single day. You're like, wait, that's 40 messages that are personalized and 10 cover letters. Yep, that'll probably take about 4 hours. And then what do you do tomorrow? Set the timer, you do it again. Next day, you set the timer, you do it again. What do you do the next day? You set the timer, you do it fucking again. And you keep doing it. And on the ones that you really, really like, you drive over there after you get off your shift, you stop by and just say, hey, I'm Avante. I'm really excited about the opportunity. I think I can help. I applied. You got a couple messages from me. I promise I'm not a weirdo. I just did it because I wanted to stick out from the rest of the pile. Because I know you guys, I'm sure, for an opportunity as good as this, you probably got a lot of people who are interested. I just will promise you that I just want a shot. You say that, they will give you the interview. And if they don't, someone will. And once you...
Super great advice. I'm going to stop here and just say this is exactly the right advice. What great advice from a pretty dynamic speaker. I really like this guy. You're all going to be commenting now. How in the world have you not heard of this dude? I know I live under a rock or something. Pretty sharp dude. I'm super impressed with him. I know everybody else is too, and he's a very successful man. So I'm very happy to have stumbled upon his things. I hope that's helpful for you. I thought it was good advice, and best of luck in your job search.